people would tell you, oh, I'm fitter than even you that goes to the gym, or somebody who goes to the gym 24/7 is just being diagnosed with hypertension. I'm like, oh, can you see? I smoke 10 gazillions of sticks in a day and I'm not even having any problem with my heart or my lungs. To tell you there's nothing, all these things are myths. They are not myths. If nothing happens to you today, old age is there. That is if we live longer to that period to experience it.
When people come to the hospital and you start asking them questions about, oh, how do is your father alive? Probably the father has passed. Like, how did your dad pass? What was the case? When most people say they don't know, this kind of like limits the history taking.
Yeah.
To be able to know what's wrong with someone. You should monitor your blood pressure from time to time. It's not when you become unconscious due to numerous of reasons. Probably the pressure is too much in your body. It's caused a leak in your head. It could form an aneurysm or anything could happen. So we'll be talking.
Aneurysm is just like when the pipe burst in the house.
Yes.
So just water everywhere. In this case, it's
pressure.
blood everywhere. Now it's not even bleeding out; it's bleeding within the brain.
You're more active.
Exercise is just so beneficial for so many conditions. So many conditions.
Welcome everyone. My name is Taiwo. I'm a registered nurse and a public health advocate. And with me is
Oyinda, and I am a registered nurse, and I have strong passion for public health, and I practice as a nurse currently.
Today we've got to talk about something that affects millions of people all over the world, often without them knowing they have it. And it's called high blood pressure or hypertension. Let's start with the basics. What's blood pressure?
To define blood pressure, we have to understand that the organ that contributes to this blood pressure is our heart. And then I am going to link simply the blood pressure network to the piping system within the house. You know, we have pipelines that take water all around the house. And then the heart is being helped with vessels, namely the arteries and the veins. Now, blood pressure is the pressure against the arteries of the heart. Now, to classify the blood pressure, it can either be high or be low. So, but for today, you know, we are talking about hypertension, which is simply high blood pressure. So, when this pressure against the arteries of the heart are so high, it causes elevation, and then which results into what we call the systolic blood pressure and the diastolic blood pressure being high. So eventually we'll discuss the low blood pressure to see how that can also affect us. But then we have normal values that we look at for readings. You know, we go to the hospital, we go to the chemist shop or the pharmacy shop to get our blood pressure checked. Or sometimes we go to the community outreaches to get the blood pressure checked, to familiarize ourselves with what the normal value would be. Everywhere in the world, the normal value is 120. The systolic, that is the one above, the numerator for everyone. And the normal one for the diastolic, which is the denominator, is 80 millimeter of mercury. So now before anyone can be diagnosed of having high blood pressure, Taiwan, I hope I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
So such a person needs to have an elevated pressure first before they can be diagnosed into the 3 stages of hypertension that is available scientifically all around the world. Thank you. And then if there is an elevation of 120 to 129 millimeter of mercury for the systolic, that is the one above. So that is just an elevated reading. And then whoever is taking your measurement at that point, either your nurses or your doctors or your pharmacist or the CHIOs or the CHOs or wherever you find yourself being helped with, they will tell you to keep an eye on your blood pressure at that point, just like in modification of lifestyle. But we'll talk about those education in a minute. So now to go to the primary classification of hypertension, you have the systolic, that is the numerator, of value of 130 milliliter of mercury to 139. And you have the diastolic, which is the one below, of 81 to 90. So, and when an individual is progressing to the second stage of hypertension, it's 140 and above. and for the diastolic is 90 and above. And then this is situation where they also talk about modification of lifestyle, and then your healthcare worker who is seeing you is at this point looking at how to better help you. If modification of lifestyle is not working, they are thinking of medications, but we are not going to talk about that. So, and the last classification of high blood pressure is when the blood pressure is 116 and above, and the diastolic is 130 and above.
Blood pressure doesn't just start in a day. Just to add to what Oyinda has been saying, it doesn't start in a day. It's also termed the silent killer for a reason, because the force which blood pushes against the artery, which he was explaining with the piping system of the house, which it pushes, once the force is greater, it begins to damage the artery little by little. And after this, there's a lot of things that could cause the force to increase, but after this, then this starts showing in the reading of the blood pressure. And thank you for about the scientific research. There's something we'd like you to settle for us, because while we're preparing for this, there was a lot of literature talking about, when we talk about literature, it's just about scientific papers that has been written, carried out by people, or research, as most of you know it, whereby the rate of high blood pressure among women is higher than men. But I was of the opinion that the research was fair, and a lot of people report it whatever way they want it.
Not to cut you short, I mean, the 10-year foresight for blood pressure in Nigeria as of 2015 was that more men had high blood pressure than more women. This research was done in the northeast, central, and in the north central, in the southwest, and even the southeast, and they found more men than women. I mean, I'm not being biased, and I'm not discriminating against the men, but the thing is, I do believe that our men of today, they underreport what is wrong with them. Men don't present in the hospital. Even our younger girls these days, everybody is informed, but you see girls, you see ladies between the ages of 18, 21, and 24, 25, going for checkups in the hospital, talking about healthcare challenges publicly online. You don't see men doing the same thing. I would say, although the research we are going to talk about may be right, because this is the information that is available to these researchers, but I would say the numbers that were given are not the true representation of what is happening outside in Nigeria.
Maybe not, but numbers don't lie. Men and women lie, but numbers don't lie. Men, women do better report when you have issues with your health. It's not only when you have issues with your health. Be a regular checkup. Preventive health is the best, not curative health or palliative health. So it's better to be proactive about your health than the amount of money you spend later on trying to cure yourself or try to manage your health. There was an article by WHO, I think. Talking about talking about the prevalence of hypertension in Nigeria, and it is estimated at 31.2%, and that's nearly affecting 1 in 3 adults in Nigeria. That's millions of people walking around without even knowing about their condition, and it could lead to heart attack, kidney damage, diabetes, stroke, a lot of things. And the young adults, it says yes, a study in 2025 across 3 states in Nigeria. I know this is not you could not generalize it.
Full representation,
Yes, but 18.2% of young adults, that's from age 18 to 40, were hypertensive, with higher rates among women. We're not going to go into that again. We've already spoken.
Well, you talked about the generalizability effect, and then why I actually love this 2015 research so much. I'll go back to that by Akilau and Co. in 2015 on the prevalence of hypertension in Nigeria. These researchers, very brilliant people, they went to North Central, they went to the Southwest and the Southeast. We know there are different parts of Nigeria, but these are the part of Nigeria. And then it was established, let's just leave men and women aside. It was established that people who live in the urban setting, now let's talk about people in the urban setting, that they are
when we say urban, we mean
people who live in the city, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, people that live in the cities, that they are prone to getting high blood pressure than their counterparts that live in the rural setting. But now this is where it gets tricky. The younger people were found more in the cities as compared to the elderly ones. But many people would believe and then, affirm this statement that many of the younger people who live into old age, they leave the cities, they retire from the cities, and they go back to the rural environment. It could tell why the numbers are more in the cities than in the rural settings. Then again, of course, the population in the urban settings, in the cities, are much more than people in the villages. And also, this research, as beautiful as it is, talked about men and women sex-wise, and then talked about the elderly and then the younger people who are lesser than 18. And then I'll say there was an estimate of people who are lesser than 18 to have of 0.1% to up to 17.5% of population with high blood pressure. Now, another thing is that people who are classified under pre-hypertensive state, the elevated blood pressure that I talked about, are even significantly high, to up to 4.5%. But I think you have a research as of 2024 that says something otherwise. Do you want to talk to people about that?
Yeah, that's true. And another thing that's interesting with the research WHO carried out recently, I was talking about 28% of people are not aware of the hypertension until the research was carried out.
Yes,
3%.
That is because people don't do any checkups.
You might say, Oyinda, why should we care? Or Taiwo, why should we care about hypertension or high blood pressure?
The aim of this thing is for preventive
health.
Yes. And this is one of the reasons why we name our podcast The Vital Signs. The main objective is to help people be better informed, to be empowered, to be able to prevent themselves from the complications of majority of medical problems.
As we've been saying about it's being called the silent killer for some reason, hypertension is one of the leading causes of different health conditions like heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure. And the kicker is, what's funny? It's preventable and manageable.
Of course.
And I know most people believe, I'm not going to take my drug. I believe in miracles. Don't get me wrong. I believe in miracles, but I think we should use your common sense also. If you feel like you'll be ill, but you should try to monitor. Even if you are not using your drug, let your healthcare worker, the doctor, the nurses, or whoever is closer to you. Maybe some of you even go to pharmacy. You should let them know.
A lot of people go to the pharmacies.
Yeah. So most of the time we hear a lot of people say a disease affects an entire population or ethnic group. In the case of hypertension, sadly, is one of the diseases that affects majority of black population. If you are black, you've got an higher probability of having high blood pressure. We are not saying you're going to have it. We are just saying it's been proven. But for you not to become a statistics or a number, that's why we are here to talk to you to better manage your health.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of factors. Genetics play a role in it. That's why it affects more black people.
And then to talk about the genetics, and that is if your grandparent who is black had hypertension, there is a very, very great likelihood of you, the grandchildren, or the great-great-grandchild getting the same high blood pressure. And then these are just things that we call in medicine idiopathic. You cannot explain how they come about. We just classify them because the people who have done the research, they found the link between second to third to fourth to fifth generations that this thing happened. And it is not a miracle. It is not something that is far-fetched. It's happened amongst many families, amongst many countrymen. Leave Nigeria and go to any other African country. It's the same everywhere. Or even the Caribbean. So it's the same everywhere.
Yeah. So, to build on your point about the genetics, when people come to the hospital and you start asking them questions about, is your father alive? Probably the father has passed. Like, how did your dad pass? What was the case? When most people say they don't know, this kind of like limits the history taking.
Yeah.
To be able to know what's wrong with someone. If you tell them, oh, probably the dad had an heart condition, if you're able to like tell them what kind of heart condition is,
there are different categories.
Yeah, to be able to help with diagnostics, it's going to help them factor in a lot of things that could cause your presentation to the hospital.
Yeah.
And moving on from, most people will be like, oh, is it only if my dad does not have or my granddad did not die of hypertension or high blood pressure? What other things should they be on the lookout for when it comes to high blood pressure?
This is why we look at the lifestyle. What kind of food do we eat? Do I drink alcohol? Am I somebody who hang out with my friend because I'm young? Do I smoke recreationally? And this is not to be discriminatory, because when you go on our social media platforms now, you see youth talking irreverently about illicit drug use as being recreational. Who is prescribing these things to you? How are you getting them? Is it being prescribed by the healthcare workers? Are you taking these things for medical reasons? I mean, people would tell you, oh, I'm fitter than even you that goes to the gym, or somebody who goes to the gym 24/7 is just being diagnosed with hypertension. I'm like, oh, can you see? I smoke 10 gazillions of sticks in a day and I'm not even having any problem with my heart or my lungs. To tell you there's nothing, all these things are meat. They are not meat. If nothing happens to you today, old age is there. That is if we live longer to that period to experience it. We've been talking about early death and people, this prevalence of death between 40 to 60 years of healthy men, healthy women dying. What have they been eating during their young age, when they were young adults? Have they been consuming, I'm sorry to say, about concussion? There's been a lot of, sensitization against about concussion in Nigeria, but yet I'm still surprised that people are still doing it. There's education in Pidgin, there's education in English, even in ethnic, our ethnic languages. I speak Yoruba. There's a lot of sensitization in Yoruba. There's a lot of sensitization in Igbo. There's lots of sensitization in Hausa. Educating people to stop this, but yet we still find ourselves not adhering to these lifestyles.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll talk about now again for people who live in the cities is stress. People think because I'm young, I go to the club, I dance up till 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. I go back home to rest for 2-3 hours, and I'm up again to go to the office. Nothing happens now, but do you think about the long run? Even if you think nothing is happening to you right now, have you done a checkup? You are fit, nothing is wrong with you, you don't see any symptoms, but it could be there. Elevated level, first stage of high blood pressure. You may not experience any symptom.
You actually know,
you may not.
You don't, most of the times for high blood pressure, you don't see any symptoms until it's caused more damage in your body, that probably kidney failure or stroke or heart attack. That's when you realize, or maybe migraine that's been there forever. So those are the things you see. Another thing, diet. That's another thing, because you spoke about people living in the city.
Yes. And
we've spoken about research findings that pinpoint people living in the city are more predisposed to having high blood pressure. Diet. What do you have to say about that?
Well, our foods, as we know, are very starchy. Most of our meals are very starchy. And before you see any Nigeria having balanced diet, I'm sorry to say, you would be amongst the elite and the well-educated and well-exposed. But as small as the orange in our compound, our trees that we have at the backyard, as small as the orange is, it would provide you with your fiber that you need to join. Ewedu, as you see it would provide you with the vitamins and some of the minerals to help you with the starch that you are taking. The vegetables, do not be miserly with them. Get your vegetables. To eat a very balanced diet, we don't need not to eat Nigerian food. We are so blessed. Our foods are so rich. We just need to combine these foods in the right proportion. I mean, somebody who is eating, I'm going to work this morning while I was working in Lagos, to use it as an example. I'm like, wake up 5 a.m. or I'm already in the shuttle going to work. And then I see gala. I take gala and pure and sachet water. And then, like Acera or Coke. Biggie Coke, or give me zero Coke. I mean, that zero Coke is a scam. We're not going to that. I don't want to demarket anyone. I'm not being paid to demarket anyone. And then, you buy that for breakfast, you get to work, you struggle all around. Being a nurse, you're active all day, burning energy, burning calories. Nothing is being replenished in a good way. The only carbohydrate you've stored is being converted into fructose, sucrose, or whatever that the body needs. No protein anywhere to build your muscle mass. And then in the afternoon, oh my goodness, the headache has come again. What can I eat? Maybe as a nurse, so that it depends on where you work. Is it gari that you could take, or mama put by the roadside? You've gone to buy rice. You buy rice, money no day to buy meat. Of course, you have to eat your rice with the soup without any meat. Night time, you are going back home again, you see pop-off, or you see akara to eat. Or agbado. Akara, actually there is beans in it, but to surprise people a lot, there's this, misconception about beans to being more proteinous. We just need to know what is with what in our meals. And then the good thing is, our own generation, we are more educated than people before us. That is because our parents took the liberty of sending us to school more. So, for us to have the grace of internet, the grace of being literate, the grace of social media, these things. Just go on Google. What is protein? You don't have to eat any food from any Western country or any food from any Asian country. Nigerians, in Africa, we've got everything in the right proportions. Just combine them in the right way. Go on your Google. This food I'm eating, is it right? And, not to be insensitive. Another factor that we should talk about is financial implications.
Yeah.
So, not to be insensitive, yeah. So, youth, we struggle these days a lot to get things right. And if I'm collecting 50,000 salary in a month, how do you expect me to have a well-balanced diet? Maybe when we talk about how to educate people to do the right thing, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So, but for 50,000, you may be saying, oh, how do you expect me to have balanced diet? Your 50,000, you are getting money to buy data. Still browse your meat or your fish.
Yeah, ignoring your body.
Exactly.
Nourishing your
there was a recent thing I read about fish. I had recently had a checkup, and then we were talking about fish. Did you eat fish a lot? The person was asking me. I said, I eat fish all the time. What kind of fish? I said, mackerel. This is the first time somebody is saying mackerel. I said, of course. And then the funny thing is that even this mackerel may be even proteinous than the salmon. You don't have to buy salmon. You don't have to buy egg. Don't go to Makoko to go and buy expensive fish before you can eat well-balanced diet.
Yeah.
So, do we have to talk more about the research?
Another thing we should talk about is the country as a whole. We are not look like we are piling on people about them not taking care of themselves. The government has a responsibility to take care of people too.
Yes.
If we look across Nigeria, there's a systemic issue regarding the hospitals, and there's a brain drain currently happening. And this is not to make them stopping. They've already started stopping healthcare workers from leaving the country, which is a deprivation of their fundamental human rights. Yeah. Everybody has a right to work anywhere, go anywhere, without being forced to stay in a particular place. Yeah. But the institution, they feel we work in Nigerian hospitals whereby the equipment we've had is still the same. Most of the time, it's mostly the same equipment they've had since the colonial era, since 1950s, 1960s. That's what they still use. You see forces that are older than me in hospital, which is bonkers. And this, when people come to the hospital, the way they are being treated or the way is really expensive. Let's forget about the way they are being treated. Let's talk about the expense they spend. You have to buy card. You have to pay for doctors visiting. In a sane world, this should be available in there should be more ways. There should be a better way or a better structure.
Accessibility should be
in Nigeria, we've got different levels of healthcare system. We've got the primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, which is the general hospitals, the primary care are the healthcare centers all around. The general hospital that we have around, the state hospitals, general hospitals. Then we have the federal, the tertiary one, which is the teaching hospitals. Most people, a lot of things, they go to the teaching hospitals, the tertiary hospitals. They shouldn't even be going. Something they could actually like manage in the primary healthcare centers.
In a way, we've just like rendered some arms of healthcare useless.
Yes.
Because the primary healthcare center, I remember when I was in nursing school then, we did this community posting. I was surprised that people were using those community centers. I never knew people were using it. Even as a nursing student, I wasn't aware of them until I got to nursing school. Now imagine a common man. I mean, I am a common man too. Somebody who's not into healthcare. How would they know? So, and this is where the poor access to healthcare came about. Do we have the right education? Do we have the right enlightenment to even be aware of these places? Or to be aware that there is even stratification of these healthcare centers?
And sorry to cut short. Another thing is like, even if they are aware, the place is underfunded and understaffed. So them waiting in the primary care center for long hours just to be safe. And while their work is there, they won't get paid if they don't resume early.
Another thing I remember then was because most of these our local community centers, they don't even open every day. You get there, you don't see the doctors. They tell you,
are there even doctors there?
The doctors, they like circulate like maybe 10 or 12 local communities. Or
even nurses. There might not be nurses
within
there.
a week, and then you see your doctors almost once every 2 weeks or once every month. And this is we talked about we being advocates. The advocacy here is to the government. We need to fund, because I made a tweet sometimes not quite long ago about preventive care in Nigeria. It is almost next to nothing.
It's not even there.
And then this poor access to healthcare. I mean, people, the thing in Nigeria now is people want to make money, people want to survive, people want to live. Where do they get the time to even think about their health?
The government needs to top it up.
Well, we'll leave this to the government maybe to follow up, and then for people also under this to maybe make a comment or talk to people that they know could help.
Yeah, they could even speak to their local government chairman.
Because I do believe there is the avenue for common people to write letters or to advocate within the community, our fathers and mothers, for them to talk to the government. I would use Adeoyo Hospital as an example. Adeoyo, when I was like still young, maybe a teenager or young adult, I used to know of Adeoyo being talked about so gloriously. I don't even hear anything about Adeoyo these days. I'm not even sure if they have the midwives or the nurses or the doctors. I mean, it feels very sad. It feels so sad. I feel really, really sad. What happens to the people in the community? This is where the advent of traditional birth attendant came from. Now we don't even have the TBAs anymore. We have just unskilled people killing pregnant women. And the funniest thing now, I read another research just last week about women in labor in Nigeria, the mortality rate being the highest in the whole world. And we're not the poorest.
These are preventable.
We're not the poorest.
These are preventable deaths. And imagine the agony. A lot of quacks parading themselves as seasoned healthcare professionals. Yeah, I think we'll just leave that at that, and we'll tell the government to do better.
Maybe we should just speak about one risk factors or causes of this high blood pressure.
Oh yeah, let's move
and
back
that is physical activity.
Yes.
And one beautiful thing I see these days is when even though people post laws against people that go to the gym these days, in a way, whether you go to the gym and just do 2 lifts, I'm very, really impressed with you, honestly. Yeah. And I should even say thank you and well done to those people. Whether you go to the gym once in a week or twice in a week, you are still something compared to people who are on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere where they are in the corner of their rooms doing nothing, just laying in bed. You are more physical. I'm physically active than those people. I am a nurse. I go to work maybe 12 hours in a day, and I believe because I work every day, I don't need to do any other physical activity. As my fellow colleagues, we may not be doing enough. We need to do more. Now imagine somebody who is not even doing much. You go to your shop, you open the shop.
Sit down with them.
Another example we should look at are the online vendors. We market our shops online, we dance to them, we shop them, or we just like showcase them standing, just talking. Talking is not a physical activity. You are not exercising by talking. Maybe you're just, I don't know how to describe that scenario, but you need to do more.
Yeah,
because
everybody.
obesity comes in when you are not doing anything.
Oh,
Obesity is when people are just increasing BMI. I mean, like, they are big, and this is not to discriminate against the big people. We are not body shaming anyone.
Right,
It's just, I mean, health-wise, the good practice is for everyone to have the right BMI.
Right, yeah.
And having the right BMI is staying within a good, reasonable body size.
Yeah.
And that is just to prevent fat deposition along the arteries that we talked about. Because when there is fat deposition, the arteries are thin,
yeah.
and you don't have enough water enough blood to pass through. It's just like when your pipe is clogged.
Yeah.
You know, you're not getting enough water, and you have to call a plumber for them to clear the pipe so that the pipe could work. So same thing when the fats block the artery, imminent cardiac arrest, maybe stroke. Some other time we talk about those things too.
And like we said, those are the things that could cause kidney failure, liver failure, because those organs are not getting blood. You people have been talking about why it concerns us. Next thing I think we should like educate people on is, what can we do? We've been saying diet, exercise, and all. What can we do to prevent hypertension? And there's been a lot of things that we've talked about, but I think we should start with the diet, since it was what we started with previously. So let's talk about diet. How can you eat? Because most people are like, oh, you said most of our foods are starchy, and how do we ensure we know currently, like, the poverty rate in Nigeria is alarming, and the government is doing nothing to help. So how can I eat with maybe the money I eat with, for me as a single person, or me and my family? How can we ensure that we're eating the right amount of food and we ensure it's balanced?
When just maybe a few years ago, I was working in one hospital, and the healthcare assistant cooked rice. I brought rice actually to work, and I salted the rice. I put salt in the rice. Also the vegetable, I was eating the rice with vegetable. I make sure I do that. Whenever I eat rice, I use the vegetables. And it was like, why are you putting salt in the rice? I mean, I'm Yoruba again. So, and I believe most people I have seen that are Yorubas, we cook our rice with salt.
Everybody. I was taught, Nigerian.
And he's from the southeast. Beautiful thing. And I was like, where he came from? In as much as you put salt in your soup, why do you need salt in your rice again? I was meant to be better informed, and I wasn't. This is where this our program is not only for people who are not within the healthcare line. You may be surprised as a fellow healthcare worker that you may not be doing the right thing too. That prompted me to go back into reading more about diet. I wasn't affected by any hypertension, nothing blood pressure, nothing kidney problem whatsoever. But because it called my attention to it, I went back to research. The purpose of this thing is for us to educate you and for people to reflect, because without reflection, nothing would be followed. So now to educate people, and with this, my small example, if you are eating rice, just like we've said, or if you are eating any kind of food at all, cut down on your salt. If you've been diagnosed with hypertension or pre-hypertensive stage, cut down on your salt, really. But I had a grandma then who was diagnosed with hypertension, and we would cook stew separate and our separate. And the funniest thing, she would say, no salt. Then I was in secondary school, high school for everyone. No salt, no salt. And I would be like, how are you managing to eat this food without salt? Well, the aim is to cut down salt, not to stop salt entirely, because you need salt to function.
That's a misconception.
Exactly. It doesn't have misconception. And I would say maybe many of our parents too, who are informed, may be doing the same thing. You have to cut down extremely on your salt, not to stop it. Now, for fruits, it may be difficult to educate people because things are expensive. And to get fruit now, banana of like 500, 1,000 is luxury. How much is my salary? How much is people's salary that they want to buy banana? But I'll still say it again, if it is a fortete that you can buy from the market, your eba should not be eaten. That's your gari, turned gari, should not be eaten with just pepper alone or with just egusi. Make sure you put small vegetable in it. Vegetable should still be sold for reasonable amount of money. if you are too like maybe, or even egg, I've seen people say they feel comfortable eating their eba with egg.
There's nothing wrong with that.
If you can tolerate that, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the source of protein in egg is really high. Well, funny thing I saw on Twitter also recently was somebody said he ordered one afan soup online and he saw sausage in it. I don't know what if it was from Instagram vendor. I don't know. I didn't bother to do more research. It could have been a lie to what the person posted online. It could have been purported, imaginary. But I think people also now they have this classist, mindset against food they refer to as elitist. Sausage is not. I don't see the benefit effect of sausage.
There's too much sauce in it. Salt
sauce in sausage. Why should sausage be in afan soup? Exactly. This is processed food. Diet again. If you are eating your gala in the morning, you should not eat gala tomorrow or next tomorrow. If the gala is something you can afford today, try to eat akara tomorrow. At least akara is high. It's fiber with carbohydrate, but it's just little source of protein in it. Gala, I cannot say. Yeah. They say it is there, but then now if you refer to gala of year 2011, year 2010, if you compare the composition of both to the recent 2025 or 2024, they are not the same. So I think just not to drag on this so much. Also talking about fruit, not to move far away from fruit. There are foods that are still very, very much affordable now. If you cannot afford banana, if you cannot afford orange, if it is just pawpaw or watermelon you can afford. If you cannot afford the whole thing, just buy some cut. If you are able to afford fruits, maybe 2 or 3 times in a week, of course, yes. I'll leave Taiwo to talk about the next thing to avoid.
Yeah. Thank you. Like we said, exercise. You say no, the type of job I do, I spend a lot of energy doing it. Yeah. Exercise is different. You need to be intentional about exercise.
Yeah.
And to help your muscle, because the type of job you do, maybe you sit a lot or you stand a lot, it's just affecting a section or a type of muscles that you use. The other type of muscles, you are not engaging them. So if maybe now you just finished from work, maybe you're a banker or you work in an office and just finished from, I'm going to talk about the other type of job. You sit all day and there's there's minimal movement.
The only thing they use more?
Yeah.
The hands.
So if when you're coming back, maybe your house is like an hour from your workplace, you could probably get down when you're almost 10-15 minutes from your house if you take public transport and walk the remaining. When you walk the remaining, it's more like 20-30 minutes of walk. I know you might say, oh, I'm tired from work, but you need to do these things to up yourself. You might not see the effect today, but later down in the future, you see the effect of you being active about your health. You've seen a lot of older people that you'll be like, are you 60, are you 70? And you're still active and bouncing about. Most of them were really engaged and really thoughtful about their body. They might not even know they were doing exercise. They would walk a lot, and you see them trekking a distance. They don't take transport. So that kind of things could help you if you don't have money to go to the gym. If you have money to go to the gym, please do go to the gym. Lift some weights. That's going to help you with your muscles. Run on a treadmill. You feel a lot better about yourself. There's this thing the body gives you. It's kind of like a therapy, whereby with whatever you're going through, if you do that, your body's going to produce some kind of hormones. I don't want to go into medical jargons, but
maybe some people know endorphins. So endorphins. To use adrenaline. Yeah. Adrenaline is released.
Yeah. So it boosts your mood. No matter maybe you're sad or when you go to the gym and start lifting weights or start doing some exercise, your body releases those endorphins and your mood brightens. And for men, it improves your testosterone. All this poor belly is mainly estrogen. Your body is getting filled with estrogen. But when you do more exercise, your testosterone keeps improving. You see that you're more productive. You don't just lie around the house doing nothing, just being sad and all. The testosterone in your body improves. And for ladies, the endorphins enriches you and make you more active.
Exercise is just so beneficial for so many conditions. And it would be actually apparent to also include that physical activity helps with moods. I see some people who may be on the high side of weight say that they are not motivated to do activities to shed the weight. But even if you start somewhere, you would notice that your mood would increase and you feel happier or more motivated to do these things. I don't know if we have these injections that people use these days to reduce weight. I would say many people who are overweight too may not be happy. I mean, they accept themselves for who they are. They don't feel stigmatized, or they don't feel unhappy with the state. But some people just want to feel lighter, and then they feel that the long way is physical exercise, and they do these weight losing injections.
Yeah, Ozempic.
Yeah, those ones. I do think from social media interactions, I believe our people are also into that now.
Not to shame anybody.
Exactly, but I would say to look into the long-term effects of these injections.
The side effects are
The best and the safest thing is physical exercise. You don't have to register at a gym. If Baba Sikira laughed at you today walking on the street doing your exercise, if Mama Jonathan laughed at you tomorrow, or Mommy Rufai laughed at you next tomorrow, in a month's time they would stop, and you will be surprised to see people doing the same thing as you. You are not only motivating the elderly generations, you are motivating people who are younger than you. So I think our society, we live on this notion of shame. What will people say? We are so shameful. What will people say? What will people say? But then with people, things that I see online these days, I think people they care less about that now.
What will people say if you live longer when you do exercise?
Exactly. If you die, people will talk about you today. By tomorrow, they will come back to their normal business.
Yeah.
What will people say in your death? You should be thinking. I mean, life is just always about me first before other people. Yeah. And this is not you being selfish. It's you being looking out for yourself.
Definitely. And another thing we'll talk about is stress, managing stress.
Yeah.
Most of you might not know how to manage stress. You might just feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed at work. Then you are continuing beating yourself up about the stress and whatever you're going through, but you are doing nothing about it. There's a lot of things you could do. Meditation, you could meditate. You could, if you don't know how to meditate, we live in a society whereby we've got a telephone at fingertips, whereby you could get information. It's not just about gossiping and gisting
and entertainment.
You could use it to better your health. So you could search how to do meditation, deep breathing exercises, and if prayer, probably a person of faith, if prayer is what you can, people do it and it works. So if you pray, and that might help you relieve your stress, that whatever tickles your fancy, please do. Manage your stress better. Look online on the internet. How can I manage my stress better? How can I do to reduce stress? There's a lot of tips about that. And also, the last thing we'll talk about, when we're talking about people not being consistent, saying, oh, my God will heal me, which is fine with us.
Yeah. But we're also people of faith. Yeah.
So we believe that even if you say that, but monitor yourself. If you are prescribed a drug, God is not a magician. But if you are prescribed a medication, take it consistently with your faith, and you taking your drug. You might just find out one day, oh, your blood pressure is gone, and you monitor it. You saying, oh, I've been healed completely, and you're off your drug for months without checking your blood pressure, that's you moving closer to 6 feet, which we don't pray.
Because we talked about high blood pressure earlier and low blood pressure. If we are doing the right thing, we should always keep an eye on not deviating from the right to the wrong. Because too much of everything without keeping close eye on it may result into bad. Keep using your medicine without genuine food, without the right foods, or without the right exercise. If you go lower, that's another problem. There was something you talked about meditation earlier, maybe on this medication, and it is not a myth that you may be using your medication and it may not work. not that it may not work, it is just that it may take time to work.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we call this hypertension a silent killer. And Taiwo rightly said earlier that it just start in a day. And most of the research findings, scholarly articles that we touched earlier, most of the statistics came from stages of hypertension of second to third. People don't know they have these things until it became a problem. So now if you start using medication for something that's already hard to control, hard to treat, you don't expect something that's been there for years to go within a week or a month, or even 2 or 3 months or 6 months. Consistency matters. And then got to rest my grandmother's soul. She actually was a very lovely woman who was always having her medical checkups. She did not play with them. But because her mother, who happened to be my own great-grandmother, lived up until 120-something years. So, and she was always doing routine checkups. Then they found out that she had hypertension. She was using her medicine quite all right. But she was a woman also who was into business. Even though she was religiously doing the right thing. But then stress otherwise was a thing that could not be prevented. And eventually she lost the struggle to stroke, which was a very sad thing. But I am using the example of my grandma not to demotivate anyone, but to motivate people to do all these practices. It sounds a lot, but it's not when you start them. It is not at all. This can be inculcated into our daily activity. Even if you go to work from 5 a.m. to 12 midnight, you could still do all these things. Exactly. Everything is all about commitment, motivation, and readiness. You have to be ready, you have to be committed, and you have to be motivated. If there is no consistency, again, you lose the battle.
Yeah. When probably one is diagnosed with hypertension, or probably are trying to prevent it, it's good to combine these things that we've said: diet, cutting back on salt or processed foods. You need salt. Don't get us wrong. You need salt, but cutting back on excessive usage of salt and processed food, exercise, managing stress, and use your medication regularly. And most importantly, we should not forget the major thing you need to do is to check your blood pressure regularly. Don't wait for any symptoms, like we'll be saying.
If you are not able to buy the kit, the blood pressure checking kit, I mean, I think chemists, they do that, right?
Yeah, they do that, yeah.
And the beautiful thing with Nigeria is we have easily accessible private hospitals. Well, you're not going to these hospitals to get medical help or to get admission. You're just going there to ask the nurses, the doctors, just to check your blood pressure. If they collect 500 or 1,000 naira from you, it is for your own betterment.
Yeah.
If this is something you can afford once every month or twice or fortnightly, it is very, very advisable. It's just for our own good. And I think maybe to talk more on stress, I remember now my father who would say, oh, I'm a man. Once I go to work and I'm charged, that is it. I don't have to, and I don't feel tired. I'm well. Our fathers at home, you are not well. Because this is
well.
you're not saying that. And this is why I would actually stand with my opinion that the statistic that women have more of high blood pressure tendency or prevalence in Nigeria may not be right. Because from the men around me that I know, they don't do routine checkups as the women do. Even the younger ones, you tell them don't do that, and they'll tell you, oh, I'll be fine. Life is not to be ruffled with I'll be fine. You are a man, we all know quite all right. You have more body mass, more muscle mass, and more bones than women. But if it affects you, it would affect a woman the same way. You do need to manage our stress. You need to rest. Our fathers, our mothers, we know you want to send us to school. You want us to be better than you. But while doing all these things to pave a life that is, like luxurious, or life that is better for us to live in, please, we want you to be able to live longer, for us to look after you as well. It would be very sad for us to get all this, or to miss all these successes or wealth of life, and then the parents who helped us to reach that stage are nowhere to be found. I particularly wouldn't want my parents to be nowhere to be found when I am able to provide for them maximally, when I am able to carry them to Bahamas to everywhere. Please.
Yeah, thank you for that. Men do better. There's
Thank you for agreeing at last.
There's no award for the amount of struggling. There's no award for that. So take care of yourself, so that you could take care of your family. Now we've talked about what's been in the book, things for you to do. Yeah. Now it's for us to like have real talk. We know that life happens. It's for us to have like a real talk. But we know all we've been saying is not easy.
Yes.
Life gets busy, healthy foods are expensive, and sometimes we don't even trust our care workers. That's a story for another day. If we get into that, probably another episode.
Maybe to briefly talk about it. Earlier I talked about private hospital, that people just need to take their blood pressure and they don't necessarily to get admitted. There is this campaign against so many private hospitals online that they reject chronically ill patients, people who have been pronounced dead when they get taken to the hospital. I think we need to let ourselves know that private hospitals are more like the primary healthcare center. Their capacity, many of them, their capacity is just like primary healthcare center, where what they should be doing in the real sense of the word is just preventive care and small of curative care. Anything that has to do with major curative, you should be going to secondary. If secondary is not able to manage, we go to that is where we go to Luth, we go to UCH, we go to FMCs. And we should not look at healthcare workers in private hospitals as being demons when they refer us. They are even doing more good than harm. I mean, we used to think that they are nonchalant, their body demiano is nonchalant to the struggles, to the cries of the relatives of the people who are being brought in, the patients. But I mean, I'm not excusing our behavior, but to apologize. The thing is, we've seen enough, and we should also think about the mental status and health care of these people. Part of the things we talk about stress. Stress is not only physical. There's mental stress, there's psychological stress, there's emotional stress, all of which you'll find in somebody who is a nurse or a doctor, anybody who works in the healthcare line. So now when people are not showing the empathy you want them to show, I would say leave them to that. That is their own palaver. Rather do what is necessary to save the life of your people. Now maybe because you've lost the belief in healthcare workers as a result of this little scenario, then again you've decided you are not going to the hospital because they are not people to be trusted. You are rather doing more harm than good. In my own little advice, I'll still advise that you go to these hospitals again to do check-ups, not to be admitted. Now, if they tell you you needed to get admitted, I think we talked about getting opinions from 3 or 4 different people. If you go to a private hospital and they tell you this is what is wrong with you, and you don't feel convinced, go to another place. If you go to 4 or 3 different private hospitals, you still get convinced, go to the secondary care center, secondary care hospitals, go to government hospital, which I still think, but despite the brain drain within the healthcare system, there are still reliable people working within the healthcare system.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yes, as she's rightly said, it's got impact. You being admitted, it's got impact on your job. Your employer is losing with a staff down. Your co-workers at work working understaffed when they are covering for you. Your children or your parents, they are worried about their child. If you are the breadwinner of the family is suffering without the food. The wife is worried about her husband, probably not wanting him to die, or the wife not wanting them to die untimely. Your children are worried about their parents, they are unable to focus in school. So there's a lot of levels this affects.
This is us speaking about the implications of this high blood pressure on the person suffering in him or herself, on the relative who are the loved ones or the friends, the society where this person finds themselves. Society is the workplace, the gym where they hang out, or the club where they hang out, or the local bar where they hang out, or even the canteen where they just meet with little friends in their community or their area, and even Nigeria as a whole. You told me something, you made a statement earlier where you said, try to look after yourself, try to prevent yourself from being a number out of many.
A statistics, yeah.
Exactly.
Don't be a statistics.
Once you leave all these things unchecked, untreated, then you become another statistic to the number we've been talking about. Yes. Concerning article of 2015, 2018, 24, 25. You are going to become one of the numbers. And it gives this outlook. Outlook is even a small thing on Nigeria as a whole, but this is a challenge for our government to look at because the number keeps on increasing. Yes, yeah. From 17.5 in 2015 now to 24, even almost 40 now as of 2025. I mean, what is the purpose of prevalence if we cannot do the right thing to prevent? But if the government is not helping, let us challenge ourselves. Let us prevent our loved ones from suffering. You just hear of people falling sick for 1-2 days and they are dead. It's sad. You are leaving your loved ones in lifetime of sadness, of fallen. You are leaving your loved ones to forever miss you, forever miss the life you could have lived with them until old age, forever miss the life, what you could have become in life. You leave people to imagine what could have happened to you later in life. No. We should prevent living the society from the life of imagination. It is very, very sad. It is very, very sad. Even though my grandma lived a long life, up until today, I still feel sad that she died earlier. I mean, our mother lived up until 120s, and she was active. So another thing is, if we don't... I mean, of course, I miss her every day. Imagine somebody that lived up to 80 and you still miss her. And now I'm a grandchild. Imagine what my mother or her siblings would feel.
Yeah, definitely.
So emotions apart, implications financially too. Are you the breadwinner of your family, the fathers or the first daughters? Whoever is financially buoyant in the family and you are dead. I mean, you leave the whole family in a total state of helplessness.
Yeah. On a lighter note, we want you to know your health matters.
Yeah.
You matter. Yeah. And taking care of your blood pressure is one of the most powerful things you could do to yourself and your future. Thank you for tuning into Vital Sign podcast today.
It's actually been a very lovely discussion.
Yeah,
yes.
It's been.
Yes.
And it's been insightful. Don't forget, if you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend or a family member.
Share it to people you even think knows about it. They may not know everything. Don't live on the knowledge of assumption. Share it to everyone you know. Share it on your status. Share it, tweet it on Twitter, everywhere, please.
All right. Yeah, that's really good. And lastly, before we forget, if you know someone who you think they will go through a lot of stress,
yeah,
this episode is something that could probably help them. And the ranges of the normal to stages of high blood pressure, we'll put it in the comments for you to probably like screenshot or screen grab to have like a reference point.
Yes.
Next time we'll be talking about stroke and how to prevent stroke and what to look out for if someone beside you showing signs of stroke. Stay well, stay informed, and remember,
your health is your power.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Thank you.